Many people know the soothing sounds of Ani Choying Drolma, known as the Buddhist rock star nun from Nepal. She was discovered in 1993 by American record producer Steve Tibbetts, who says of her, "There's a quality in her singing that cuts to the heart of what it's like to be human," which is why so many have been moved by her music. Not only is she healing hundreds of thousands with her voice and her music, she is standing up to abuse by calling it out with compassion and resilience. She is also breaking down the barriers of what is possible for women in Nepal and everywhere. And finally, she is a living example of how life can lead you to places beyond our imagination, and that miracles are indeed possible. Here's Ani Choying Drolma.
Well, in my own personal world, which was with my family, mom and dad, and with my two younger brothers, my dad was suffering with a very aggression problem. He had problem controlling his aggression, and he become a little violent physically and try to hit you, or however he can express or exhibit his anger to you, he wouldn't hesitate. So me and my mother suffered with that behavior. And not only that, but generally in our society, the very violent attitude that we have in our society, which is created by the gender discrimination, is that it's in such a way that everyone almost thinks that women are incapable. So similarly in my own family, I was witnessing and experiencing that impact of that attitude. So, and as being a girl born in a family, I was expected always to do the house, like cooking, house chores,
yes.
Cooking, cleaning, doing laundries and dishwashing, and of course taking care of my younger brothers. So all of these things were considered like, you have to do it because you're a girl. So that attitude itself was very much very unpleasant. It was very scary to even imagine that, to be married to a man who would not respect you, or who would not really care about how you feel or how you're doing, or what your interests are or your desires are. So, and then having to bear children and having to do work, and above all, you are emotionally abused and physically abused. So it's very, very scary, actually. I mean, domestic violence is still taking place.
Yes, and it is here too.
Yeah,
yes.
It's very sadly still taking place. And a lot of the time women take it because they think this is how it should be, as it is our culture. I really wanted to find a way to escape that kind of life, and because of course I was under fear, and I was somehow curious if there was any other alternatives. So one day I asked my mother if I would have to go through the same kind of life that she has, and she said, "No, if you don't want to." And then she said, "You can become a nun, and if you become a nun means you would never have to get married in life." And that was very, very good.
You've also, I think, really made amends with the domestic violence on the personal level. And I wonder what you might share with people about that.
The biggest mistake we as women does is we accept that violence in the name of culture or religion, or to keep the honor of the family, so that it will stop causing embarrassment to the family. And that is the biggest mistake I think we do it. The first time whenever the man starts to be violent or physically abusive, you should learn to say, "No, I don't take this." Either by, raising voice against it, or escaping from it. You know, don't accept it.
I was a little surprised to read and hear how you characterized yourself, not really being, you know, how you appear to us now.
No,
very
I was
serene,
totally
but
different.
when you feel anger or when you feel injustice, how do we express that? What do we do with that?
Well, very ignorant way of reacting immediately is to become angry, you know, show my anger and behave very tough and violent. That is to say that, look, I'm also tough, I can hurt you. So when somebody's hurt, you think that hurting the other one is the answer to that, which I also wanted to win, because I admire men being so strong, because they can hurt. So I want to be strong too, because they hurt me. I want to hurt them. And when you start to build around you this very, very hard layers of emotion around you, it is so sad. I even started to talk like man or behave like man. I would punch on walls to make my fists strong, so that someday if I get a chance to punch on someone, I really want to punch the man. You know, and then there was time when, as I grew, my biological nature is the structure of the body was taking place in such a way that I was kind of like confused what I should do. Should I be man or women? No, I thought, okay, I look like women, so I better be women. So I started putting lotion on my hands. And the most beautiful thing, what I learned about myself, is the strength and the beauty and then the blessing of being a woman. Now I celebrate being a woman, being born as a woman, really. It is so beautiful. We are very emotionally strong. We are very caring. We are very giving. We are very nurturing. That's our very biological nature. Sometimes I feel like, as being a woman, when we don't get to pour our love and care to someone, we feel suffocated. Because when we were conceived, from the moment when we were conceived in the mother's womb, we've been nurtured. We grew up with so much love, softness, gentleness, and, you know, that joyfully of conceiving such a baby. After we are born, we are cherished with so much love. There's never a limitation in mother's love. A millionaire's mother's love and a beggar's mother's love, I don't know, what would be the difference? That love, unconditional love, is so pure.
I think that men have also suffered in the culture, in what we call the patriarchy. This
of course. Men, today I'm at a stage of life where I understand actually man suffers more emotionally than the women. Women are able to very freely express their sadness, their pain by crying and, you know, sharing. Men can't. Because since they were born, they were told, like, you're a man, you're not supposed to cry. That means, like, to totally block your emotional experiences. They have to always close down. So that is very painful, I feel. You know, when you're not able to let it out, it's very, very suffocating. Exactly as women are not allowed to, you know, pour out her love. Similarly for men, when they are not able to freely accept it as a human being with a very fragile emotional condition, in their fragile emotional condition, it's very suffocating, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then they always have to wear the mask of being very strong and, tough and the liberator, and then the one who has to liberate woman or be the master all the time. In my father's case, now when I look back, I learned that he was also abused when he was very young by his stepfather. Mm-hmm. Very strongly and very brutally abused. So that probably kind of traumatized him, and then somehow he reacted in such a manner later on. Mm-hmm. And the day when I learned that he's suffering with the disease, I started to become more caring. I thought he needs help. As my teacher always said, simple kindness is the answer to all the problem in our life. Practice of simple kindness, that's all we need to do. Whether that is when we speak or behave or think. Think kindly. Speak kindly. Treat kindly. And whether that is for men or women, both equally wishes for the same thing, isn't it? I always love this quote. Instead of cursing the darkness, why not light a candle yourself? That's very, very meaningful, knowledge or wisdom to apply in oneself, in everything that you do. We easily waste time and energy on telling people what they didn't do right, instead of, focusing on what we are doing right or wrong.
Criticizing on the outside.
Yeah, it's so easy to do that.
Yes.
And we get we get carried away. Exactly.
Instead of just living in our joy.
Exactly. And being a Buddhist on a Buddha's path, what I've learned is, or what I've been able to gain from it, is that being able to perceive every condition, outer condition, as a favorable, even though it may look unfavorable, you get to learn so much. All the outer conditions, which sometimes it may look like unfavorable condition, but it can be the source of the most favorable condition in oneself. And I'm a living example for that. Because I could not fulfill my desire to achieve academic education to the highest level, but because of that hunger in me, helped me to educate hundreds of children today.
So this is what you're sharing this book for.
Yes.
Is really your journey into music and your healing.
The journey of transformation itself, I should say, from a very sad and angry being towards much happier and more visionary, and who has been able to understand and realize the potential of one's own existence as a human being, and more than that, as being a woman. So being able to rejoice and celebrate of oneself, one's own existence.
And last night you talked about when you're singing, it's not for entertainment, it's also your own practice.
It is. While I sing, I'm in a state of mind where I'm free from negativity. I'm free from calculation towards anything. I'm kind of free. So absence of negativity in our thought process or behavior or in verbal action means presence of positivity. Positivity itself is a healing energy. It's a very effectively beneficial energy. So that is definitely healing. Not only me, as I hear from the feedback from the audience, they feel healed too. Mm-hmm. So that's the power of positivity, and that which means kindness. Human nature is, we are biologically born to be loved, to love.